What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about chapter 284 for My Hero Academia, so let's just hop right on in.
Have no fear, students. Because I am here!
Alright, so chapter 284 opens up with Deku and Shigaraki still in air from last chapter. Basically, Deku's saying he's got to keep Shigaraki up in the air, because if he touches the ground, he's going to send out another tidal wave of destruction. We see that Black Whip is starting to fizzle. Deku even says that his control is starting to weaken. He manages to put everybody down, and he's just like, take care of Gran Torino and the rest. Endeavor saying, Shoto, they get first aid for them now. And he's pissed off because he should be up there fighting, but he's not. Bakugo's telling him to telling Deku to hang on, and you're the one guy who needs to keep his distance from the creep, since he's no longer being held back by Erasure. And he's just like, who else can and Deku yells, who else can keep Shigaraki off the ground? And Bakugo is a mixture of pissed off and worried. Endeavor's just pissed off, like he always is. And Shigaraki's saying, you like the sky that much? Good, because after I steal one for all, I'll send you straight to heaven. Same goes for that old fool and the others down there. And Deku basically yells, you're not going to hurt them anymore. He goes in for a punch, and Bakugo, literally, you can see the fear in his eyes. And it flashes back to you want us to help with his training, to Sero, Uraka, and Sue. Basically saying thanks for coming here, and Deku's basically saying, yeah, I just need some help with my new power. And we see Deku with the fro. And it's because he keeps losing in a training exercise. We'll call Catch a Kachan with Black Whip. That's a very, that's a pretty self-explanatory title. And then he hasn't caught him once yet, and he's basically asking, he's talking to Sero and asking him for advice on how to catch fast-moving targets like Bakugo. And they show a little, they have a little scene of Catch a Bakugo with explosions happening and everything, and Uraraka's just like, why do explosions come into this? And she's like, once a jerk, always a jerk, huh, Bakugo? But Bakugo's just like, Deku said make it feel like a real-life battle, which, yeah, that sounds like something Deku would say. They agree, and Uraraka's like, tell me what I can do. I'm still learning how to use my wires. And Sarah's like, shouldn't Aizawa Sensei be the man to teach whip techniques? And All Might's just like, Professor Uraraka, you're here to teach him about body control while breaking in midair. And she's like, but Deku's already good at bouncing around. And Sue's like hippity hoppity and just so adorable. And he's justifying it by saying, well, more power increase hang time, and he needs to master advanced ability midair. And well, as for Aizawa, he's busy talking to teleporty floaty guy. And so Deku's, doing his little nerd thing with his notebook, saying he's already got everyone's move written down, since it's 2. And he's basically saying, I think we can find some common ground in terms of how we use our bodies. So then it shows Deku and Uraraka just floating around, trying to control it. And he's just like, oh, so that's how that works. And he's just using a one for all to pretty much propulse himself in midair. And since he's still in the air, he's trying to get. All Might tells us to get some coaching Black Whip. And All Might walks off to the side and goes to sit down with Bakugo. And he's basically saying, "It's going great, huh?" And All Might's just basically explaining that float quirk and how it suspends people in midair, much like zero gravity. And he thinks getting that feel for it should awaken it faster and help it awaken and unlocking it faster. Bakugo then says, "You can't keep fooling people forever." And this isn't just like it was when it was super strength. Pretty soon, Cat's gonna fly out of the bag. And All Might says, "I'm not telling anyone about anything beyond Black Whip. And this training should prevent it from awakening, surprisingly like Black Whip did." And continuing the conversation, that night you seem to understand how someone who has great power bestowed upon them needs to think very carefully about how it puts others at risk. It's not only the wicked who seek power. And then just like a kind of like a moment of realization where Bakugo's just like, yeah, he realizes that's who he was. And Bakugo says, "Deku trusts you with his life, but in the notebook about the successors, your summary of the fourth was kinda half finished. Only that one. Meanwhile, you wrote down detailed notes for the others, like the cause of death for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Why is that?" And whenever Bakugo brought it up, All Might didn't tell him everything. And so he's just like, "Well, what is it? Did you figure something out about All for One?" And All Might's just like, "Not yet." And he's saying that, "I don't want to speculate and talk about things I'm not sure of, because I'm worried for him." And so is Bakugo. He just deep down doesn't take himself into account, He's always been like that, and now that he can do so much more, Bakugo's just like, something doesn't feel right. It makes me want to keep him at arm's length. And he's basically talking about how when they were kids, he ignored his own weakness, so he ended up bullying him. And All Might's, "Well, you're sincerely helping out with his training, and that's your way of trying to atone, right?" And he's saying he's not sure Deku doesn't see it that way. And All Might's telling him, "When I said you and Endeavor are a lot alike, I was talking about that change." He couldn't take a good look at himself either until I wound up like this. And All Might's like, "You'll get a chance to talk eventually. Not that I'm in a position to say much." And Bakugo's just yelling, saying to Endeavor, like, "You got to make this final one count." And we see Deku looks like he's about to slam down into the ground with Shigaraki attached to Black Whip, so he's about to do like the Spider-Man, just like slam him down in the ground. And Deku's realizing that he's adapting to his 100% attacks and taking the hits, but his regeneration is a lot slower, so the damage is stacking. And he even mentions that the last 200% attacks have wrecked his left arm. Since Shigaraki possesses All for One, and One for All is power passed down for the sole purpose of beating it, he's got to go down here. Now's the moment to let it all out. Everything that All for One has to offer. And it's just, no matter what happens to me. Alright. And so that was our read through of 284. We're gonna hop right into the discussion now. Alright. So, what did I think about the chapter? Honestly, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Wasn't While I really enjoyed the chapter, wasn't as hype, if that makes any sense, as the last couple chapters have been. Um, we got to see some really good, like we got to see a little bit more insight, I would say, into Bakugo's character development. Like we've been seeing him change for a while now, but it's just seeing him actually say and just talk about how he's worried about Deku. It's really cool. It's really nice. It's seeing him and having him and All Might talking about how he's trying to atone for making Deku's life a living hell for however, like 10 years, give or take. I think that's how long. But so it's just seeing it actually being said was it was really nice. Like there's something about like not having it stated outright. It's fine. It's that's how it should be for the most part, but sometimes you just need to actually see it being said by the character for it to feel like it's actually got some weight to it, if that makes any sense, or at least for me. So seeing Bakugo literally talking about how he's worried about Deku was really nice. It really tying it together. As much as I love All Might, like I've said time and time again, he is my favorite character in the entire series. Something about the death for number 4, for the number 4 user, just not sitting right with me. It's like he knows something, but he doesn't want to say anything. Whether that's him trying to be overprotective of Deku, or maybe that's him trying to hide something. Who knows? Can't wait to, when it comes to the other users, we've already got a Black Whip and we've got Float manifested. I'd love to see some more some of the other quirks that are gonna manifest for One for All. I'm just wondering what is All Might hiding, because the way how his face looked and he's just like something's being hidden. Like he knows something, but he refuses to say something. Whether or not that's just because he's terrified for Deku, or shame, I guess is the best way I can describe it. So I'm just like, it's got me curious. I'm wondering what's gonna happen. Deku is doing that Deku thing where he's not going to care what happens to him if it means saving everybody else. He's already said that his left arm has been wrecked from using those 100% attacks. So I'm worried as shit about what's going to happen. Aizawa seems to be fine, as fine as you could be after taking a eraser bullet to your leg. Still no clue as to whether or not his power has been erased yet, or if it's just, who knows, because I think he had enough time because he knew what was going to happen. So he managed to, get the bullet out in time before it actually managed to have some effect. Seeing Endeavor just like being pissed off, like how he was with All Might about how he should be the one up there since he's the #1 hero, but he can't he can't do shit like how it was with All Might. I don't think he's gonna regress back to who he was as a person just because of this, but you definitely can feel like the anger from that. Maybe just a mixture of shame too, because he's just like, there's a child up there doing what I cannot do. Um, but yeah, and again, nice little flashback of Deku training with Uraraka, Sue, and Seto. Um, yeah, but like I said, this was a pretty good chapter. And it was more, it's definitely kind of a low as compared to the last few chapters that have just been like really fucking up there. But yeah, this is a good chapter. I enjoyed it. Can't wait till next one hits. All right, and that does it for the video. Thank you very much if you made it this far. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The usual YouTube stuff. What did you think of the chapter? Comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Let's get the discussion rolling. Really want to hear what you thought about this chapter. Do you agree with me on it being kind of a low chapter, or do you think that this is just like continuing with like the hype that the last few chapters have been? Yeah, just let's just talk about it down below. And as always, don't forget to have a great day, and I will see y'all later.